Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975. Notice of this meeting was given by way of notice filed with the Star Gazette and the Express Times, filed in the Municipal Clerk's Office, and posted in Belvidere Town Hall, 691 Water Street, Belvidere, New Jersey.
This agenda is subject to last-minute additions and alterations by the Belvidere Town Council, which I have two. The fire company requested tabling the fire truck until the next workshop, so that will be moved till September. And I'd like to move the sewer up to the first spot on matters to address. Does council have anything else they'd like to add or change? Only if the attorney feels that we need to go into it.
For this contract discussion,
Yes.
there are this potential draft. I think if we're not going to get to the nitty-gritty of terms and conditions, we could have a general discussion here. But why don't we start here, see how it goes? If it trickles into something I think we need executive for, we can call it that. Does that make sense?
Sure. Roll call.
Mayor Kennedy.
Here.
Councilman Fitzgerald.
Here.
Councilman McIntyre.
Here.
Councilwoman Myers. Here. Councilman Miller.
Here.
Councilwoman Napolitani. Here. Councilman Tucker.
Here.
Need approval of minutes of July 18, 2016 regular meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, comments, or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor, I'll abstain from this.
Thank you. It's now time for our public comments, agenda items only. Please come to the podium, ask and make your comments. If we have none, we'll move on. I need a motion for resolution R 2016-X35, a resolution authorizing refund of premium money for block 34, lot 5.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I need a motion and a second for resolution number R 2016-X36, a resolution adopting the Warren County Multiple Jurisdiction Hazard Mitigation. I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
That was-
Charles, okay.
I need a second.
Second.
Questions or comments? I do have a couple quick, or at least one quick question. Is this the Warren County mitigation? Is this in reference to the possible county continuing to seek to remove the homes from down on Water Street?
No,
This is not.
no. This is actually a plan update, a plan that Mrs. Reeder.
Basically, what the mitigation plan is if things that we can do, but it doesn't tie you into anything.
Okay, so it's not going to tie us into.
No, if we don't approve this plan, if we don't jump on this plan and approve it, God forbid something comes down the line, we won't be eligible for any money whatsoever.
Public assistance money that we just received
Yes.
for Winter Storm Jones, so.
Okay, so it has no tie-in to the other situation. All right, great. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Resolution number R 2016-X37, a resolution authorizing the mayor and municipal clerk to execute a contract with the County of Warren for the 2017 Municipal Alliance Grant Program. I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments?
I just have a question. Are we participating in one of the programs that they have listed? Because I noticed that we weren't.
Yeah, our town was not.
We were omitted. I don't know whether.
Yeah,
we
well, I
fall
think
in-
we weren't listed because we're the host town. I'm not sure, I was confused, but
Okay,
yes.
but we still participate.
Yes,
Okay.
they do funding for project graduation and other drug awareness events that go on at the high school level mostly.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, matters to be addressed. We'll move right into the sewer.
the categories and some of the language. Since we're in the process of updating our ordinances at this point, the more we can clean up in one document, the better off we are. So we're going to do the sewer rate assessment, we're going to clean up, take a look at the language on the categories of the payees. Because in town, we have, some people have sewer, some people don't, some people have municipal water, some people don't. So we'll work further with Mr. Mooney and with Pruma to come up with the most equitable arrangement for the town and with the identifiers for how they pay. So that's what's in process.
I received Mr. Moody's proposal today,
Okay.
and it's 35 to 4,500. So,
Very nice. Okay.
Can you tell me what we budgeted for on that? Wasn't it 8,000
45.
in our annual budget?
Yes, in the sewer budget, yes.
Does council have anything to add on? I know we just started diving into it.
No, I did talk to Kathy, actually at Zeke's place over an ice cream, and, but this is something we've also mentioned before. And again, and I've talked to Dawn, who has the task of collecting our sewer bills and getting the bills out, but I think, Councilwoman Meyer hit the nail on the head. I think the ordinance has been around for a while. It certainly needed an update, but I think it's very important for you as a council to get our auditor to complete that study, because in order to revise the ordinance, set a rate scale, and set classes of rates, and how you want to bill, all those questions really need John Mooney to complete the study before we dive into those details. I think once the study's done, that aspect of implementing the ordinance can happen relatively quickly, but we're gonna need his input as to, what the budget should be, what kind of surplus he might want to, work on establishing, and things of that nature, and then figure out what types, how much you need to collect, and in part, the way you set your ordinance is
And we
very
kind of
based on that.
backed into it because we went at it from the water perspective of equity, and that made our whole system maybe too convoluted for that. So we can at least give us an accurate assessment of what we have to deal with and
Right.
the most fair way to go about it.
Yeah, I think you probably overall likely want to take a look at the classifications, as you said. There seems to be an awful lot of them. You probably need to include some.
There are a lot of steps.
An awful lot of steps involved there. And I also indicated to the mayor, I talked to the mayor earlier today, I'm going to get a hold of John and just go over what exactly he's doing every once in a while. And again, the only thing comment I made to the mayor and to the council is, depending on what John does for his study, you may or may not want some input from the town engineer or some type of a specialized engineer who deals with sewer issues. A lot of times they'll help, somebody that can help if necessary, give you some input on how to set up your rates. So, but yeah, I'll reach out to John. As soon as we have some more data to work with, we can start taking a hard look at the ordinance.
I'm forward to actually have the proposal to you tomorrow.
Okay, let's see what he's thinking about doing. Okay, great.
Any other questions? Okay, we will move on to the ambulance corps, and I will address that one right now. I've invited the ambulance board, Joe, and the president, who I guess couldn't make it, and the captain to come in, because I know there's been ongoing a lot of questions. There's been some public comments about the rescue squad. There's been comments about the paid service. So I've asked Joe actually to come back again, so thank you very much, Joe. Thank you very much for your guys' help last week during the meeting. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just a quick response and much appreciated.
Thank you.
So, explain your opinion of a paid service versus the volunteer squad that we have right now.
Well, currently any paid service that would be coming into the town is going to be hard billing residents, which means they will balance bill. So whatever your insurance doesn't pay, whether it's Medicaid, Medicare, or their own private insurance, they're going to balance bill them for the difference. and then send them to collections if they don't pay. Us as volunteers, we don't issue a bill. We give the town our services and the town residents our services for free. We only ask for a donation. You're getting the people that live in this town and the surrounding communities to come in and care for the residents. Where a paid service, they're pulling people from who knows where at this point, and you're not getting consistent care. And they're there for the paycheck. Unfortunately, most of the providers that work on paid services are working 2 to 3 different agencies to either pay their bills or whatever money they need. And honestly, it's just another job for them. You're not going to get the heart and the dedication that the town residents have to care for the town, for their fellow resident. I'm not sure what else you're looking for at this point.
Well, I'm looking to try to address the concerns of some of the citizens, and as you know, the one individual that we have here, which we're not going to use him as a model. What are we going to do? I know right now we're having a hard time covering calls during the daytime. I know the whole mutual aid part of it. What are we doing to work towards correcting that, building up more memberships? Because I know you guys have advertised, you're doing a great job, you're bringing a lot of people on board. One of the things that you had mentioned to me that concerned me a little bit is they're not doing the testing as frequently as you would like them to do. And in some cases, you said they may not do it till the spring. And then you brought up a difference between how come the county and the fire people get trained, but you're not extended the same courtesy at the squad to get training as well.
Like I've said before, depending on the class that EMT students go to, can take upwards of 6 months to get them their certification. So when a point member comes in the door, normally what the routine has been is that Warren County Community College normally runs 2 EMT classes a year, one in the fall and one in the spring. This year they canceled the fall class. So we're trying to make arrangements for the people that we're going to send to go down to Clinton. However, they are the only EMT program in Hunterdon County, and they are obligated to take Hunterdon County residents first. So there's no guarantee our people will get into that class right now. And they don't know that until 2 weeks before class starts. So we are searching other alternatives to try and get them into class any sooner. Unfortunately, most of the other programs are over an hour away. That we're finding that would be coming up anytime soon. What I had mentioned to Mr. Kennedy about how training is done currently in Warren County is that the Fire Academy provides classes free of charge to the Warren County Fire Departments, where their instructors are paid to do those classes. However, that same courtesy is not extended to the EMS agencies in this county. Currently, it's housed by the community college, and the only classes that are done are anything that the community college seems to make money on. EMT classes run twice a year because there's state funding available for that class. Anything else is at the whim of the organization to request and then pay out of pocket for. So your local emergency services are not being treated the same way, but at the county level, which in turn incurs additional costs on us. For us to hold a class for our organization for recertification can cost us upwards of $500 to $1,000, depending on what class you're looking at. EMT class alone is $1,000 a head.
Joe, how many people are you looking to send?
Right now, I have 3 definites and 2 other possibilities, so we have a total of 5 people right now that have shown interest in going.
Joe, in the other direction, you said that in policy here in Warren County is that the county pays for fire personnel, but not for EMT personnel.
We can go to the Fire Academy and take any of the classes that they offer. However, their training options are geared for the fire departments, very limited towards EMS.
That's my question. I'm
Yes.
trying to determine differences in policy. What does Sussex County do for both groups, or what does Morris County do for both? Do you know that?
Morris County, I believe, requires everyone to pay. Somerset County charges all their agencies to go to any of their classes. Hunterdon County, I'm not sure exactly what they do. I know anyone that comes in from out of county has to pay. And I'm not sure what Morris County does, but I know they have prices listed for all of their classes, so I'm assuming that they charge. And the instructors of the fire academy are also considered adjunct faculty to the community college. So in essence, the community college is running the fire program.
Joe, as we spoke over the last week, it seems like the most difficult time for the Belvedere squad right now is daytime. Is that pretty fair?
Yes.
6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Is that pretty fair?
General ballpark, yes.
Okay. How strong do you feel the Belvedere squad is right now covering evening hours from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. or do you think we have more of a steady crew at those times?
Yes. I mean, I don't know the statistics off the top of my head.
No, I don't
but
expect you to, but I mean, you know,
overall, yes.
based on calls and call volumes, do you think nighttime is a little bit more to our advantage for covering?
Yes.
What is your apprehension about possibly having somebody else come in to assist you?
Quite honestly, they come in and start billing the residents, and we're not given that opportunity to respond, that they will essentially put us out.
So
We
you
will
people
lose all,
don't
we
work
would
together.
lose our funding, we would lose everything, our organization would go bankrupt.
Why do you say put us out? Explain that.
Honestly, the goal of the paid organizations is revenue. This is what Milton went through last year with Hackettstown Hospital and Atlantic. It's all about revenue and dollars for them. So they come in and we start responding to all our calls and don't give us the opportunity to respond. Essentially, there goes the organization that supports your town. And, let me finish, they decide that their contract is not worth it anymore. They pull out because they're not making enough money, which is what they've been trying to do in Noble. Now you're out of any type of emergency response.
You don't think that there's an equal balance in there to where, you know, we had a paid service for a period of time, we had a volunteered service for a period of time? In other words, your organization, when you're most strongest, and you feel that you're in the best position to respond to calls, versus the weakest point, I think the mayor just articulated that the daytime, maybe we would have paid service. Now, my personal position is, if we have somebody come in, you know, granted, we have Medicare, we have Medicaid, we have all kinds of insurance providers.
The
You
average
know,
rate,
my concern is the people that don't have insurance at all. I realize with Obama.
and they're going to get a bill. They're going to get anywhere upwards of a $1,500 bill.
And, you know, I've read different contracts from different municipalities, and they talk about the balance billing, and they said they won't do it and the whole bit. Don't you think it's worth a try, some type of a trial period where we can sit down with your squad and the council and say, okay, these are the periods where we need coverage. Maybe we can try something? Is it worth it? Is it worth exploring? I think it is. I mean, I'm looking at some of these contracts, and they're guaranteeing that they'll be on the road within two minutes on a call.
Yeah, because they're paying people to sit in their building.
I don't care for paying people.
No,
You know what?
No.
If it's my loved one that's sitting there having a heart attack and I have to pay for it, I will pay
I
for it.
understand that.
So, my argument to you is, isn't there some type of compromise where we can have both?
There are options. There are options to be done. Are they quick options? No.
Okay, here's one of the reasons why I wanted to specifically to make sure Mr. Rudd was here, the captain, and yourself, and I'm glad that Mrs. Reader came also. I think at this point now, I'm asking you to consider help. There's no mystery to this council that I favor on rescue squad because of the history and the number of years that you guys provided to us. There's not a secret there, everybody knows that. But in the same sense, I have a responsibility to make sure that every citizen in this town gets the emergency services that they need to get as quickly as possible.
And
I
that's where
I also realize that, speaking to you many times, that we're struggling to do not so much at night. So here's what I want you guys to take back and at least consider. I have been in contact with St. Luke's myself personally, and I have been in contact enough to get their contract as well, to read it in detail, okay? And this is something that you guys gotta decide. It's not something, again, that we're gonna decide. You guys are the squad. But just consider this, Joe, that if a 6-month reprieve will help you have enough time to get your new members trained, and I'm not saying anybody, by all means, that we should go into a long-term contract with these guys. I personally wouldn't even go into a 1-year contract, but that's my personal opinion.
Out of
But if
curiosity.
6 months, that's what you need help or assistance with. And it's not gonna cost your squad any money. It's surely not gonna hurt your reputation. I disagree with them charging you additional funds, because they will not charge the provider higher than what their insurance company pays. Okay, so that I know for
Out
a
of
fact.
curiosity, what numbers did you use to provide them to give you numbers for a contract?
I used absolutely no numbers, but that's not my expertise. That's not my expertise. I can't sit there and say how many numbers was used with Milton, how many numbers that were used. I'm going based on the amount of numbers that concerns me with the number of calls that we can't react to and that we can't respond. See, numbers mean nothing to me. Dollars and cents mean nothing to me.
What I'm asking for.
Sure, and your credibility to the squad means everything to me. But I have to sit up here and at least make a suggestion or try to help resolve
What I'm asking
the
for
period you have.
is what information did you provide to St. Luke's to be able to give them a contract, and for what areas did you give them, did you tell them that you had control over to give them a contract for?
I'll answer all 3 parts of that. I did not discuss contract with St. Luke's, okay? I did not discuss numbers with St. Luke's. As I said in past meetings, I'm not going to run the Belvedere Rescue Squad. All I'm doing here tonight is offering you some options that I would like you guys to consider. And it's not something I'm going to do behind closed doors. That's something that I'm going to do here in the public. And with the responses that we've gotten from citizens and people in the town of Belvedere, I'm simply asking you guys to consider these options.
And these options are nothing we haven't discussed in our own meetings. I'm going to tell you that point blank. These options are nothing we haven't discussed in our own meetings. And they're not quick, easy fix options. And you are going to enter into a contract, because Belvedere Ambulance Corps cannot enter into a contract to provide services, to contract with anyone else other than ourselves to provide services to this town.
So don't you think it was the right thing to have you guys come here and discuss this with us?
Oh, yes. But I'm still curious on how they gave you information for a contract.
Well,
If-
if I could.
It's irrelevant.
No, where I'm trying to go with this is if they gave you anything, and they're banking on information that was provided,
Let me
I would like
clarify
to know
that.
what information was provided.
Just clarify, I think all the mayor was trying to indicate is we got basically a specimen sample of a contract that they've entered into with another municipality. It's not Belvedere specific. So we just wanted to, I think the mayor just wanted to get a copy to see what it looks like, to see what they outline, how they contract with other municipalities. There's been no exchange of any information on that.
That's true.
So,
I think as a council, we're looking, what can we do to augment you? What can we do to make it better? You know, if you have a weak point, and that doesn't mean that, you know, you're not providing the services, but if there is a point where we can provide services to our residents, to where maybe there is a lull, whether it be daytime or whatever, I don't know what times are, why wouldn't we try to do that? And if it doesn't cost the town anything, other than the individual and their insurance providers, where's the harm? Who are we hurting here? Is this ego or is this harm? I don't see anybody getting harmed here. So if your insurance provider is going to, pay for it, that's fine. You know, I'm looking at some of these contracts, and they are talking about not billing beyond whatever they pay for. So, that's what I tried to say before. If there's a period of time where we can help you guys sustain both. I mean, you guys have such a rich history. I was born and raised here. I know your history. And I think everybody up here appreciates it, and we want to maintain that. But if we can augment it and make it better and provide better services for the people, why wouldn't we want to do that? I'm missing something here.
I guess in closing, where I was heading here, Joe, was, would this be something that you and the captain and the squad would participate, sitting down and maybe drafting something that would fit you guys on a temporary basis until you can get up to full strength?
The only thing I can do is take it back to the body. Ultimately, it's a body decision.
You had mentioned other options. I mean, we all know the option that Knowlton chose to take that's affiliated with a hospital ambulance. You referenced paid service and people kind of working everywhere. Is that a different kind of an entity?
No. It's unfortunately, most people that work for a paid service work for multiple employers. So for instance, they'll work for Mansfield, Washington, and say St. Luke's, all at the same time. They're working 3 jobs to pay their bills.
I disagree with you. That's irrelevant. If I have a squad sitting here, and they're here from 6 to 12 or 6 to 6 or whatever, they're working for us for that period of time. I don't care what they do in their off time.
It goes back to their level of complacency and level of care they will provide that individual. Oh, this is just another person I'm picking up off the street. Not giving them the care that the level of care and compassion that your local people would give.
I could sit here and argue that.
And the level of knowledge of the area and demographic.
Yeah, I disagree with you. These people wouldn't be in that line of work if they didn't be there.
I can tell you that because I do it. And I see it every day.
As far as non-paid volunteers, you're at the top of the list, by far. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you people do it because of the compassion, you love it, and you're out to help, your community. But I'd be very hard pressed to sit here and degrade anybody else that's doing it.
I can tell you.
That's like saying.
I can tell you because I also work paid EMS.
Well,
I see it. It's not everyone, but I see it.
If we can, real quick, I want to give our OEM manager.
Well, just two
floor.
quick
Go ahead.
comments. One to Charlie. I hate to disagree with you, Charlie.
then you shouldn't, Sue, because we've been together a long time.
You know I'm going to firsthand experience, unfortunately, with my mother. I got paid at a Hackettstown. They do back bill, and they weren't compassionate at all. I almost told them I'll put her in my car myself. I will say that. Second of all, is it possible for us to get a copy of the contract that St. Luke's gave you to review?
We have a contract from another municipality. We don't have a contract from St. Luke's.
Okay.
We got a copy of a contract that St. Luke's gave another municipality, but we do not have a contract to Belvedere. We are not going to enter into any contact. And
Well, you
again,
know, if they gave you
that's
something
why-
to review, that's my question.
That's why you guys are here, to discuss it. So, and whether it's even valuable to do, so. Anyone else? Just to write, Eric, you look like your mind is going a million miles an hour.
And Charlie, I understand where you're coming from, but I also worked paid EMS for a while, and what they're telling you is absolutely true. The compassion between most of the paid versus your volunteers is very different, the care you get. Response times, they don't always add up the way you're seeing there. We've seen one that where our president's mother-in-law lives in Columbia and called 911 and it was Hackettstown or Atlantic at the time. He left home after they got dispatched to go to her house to help her out. And they weren't even out of the building when he went by their building. It was about 20 minutes after it was dispatched for him to get from Delaware to Columbia. So I'm just saying, watch when you look at these statistics and times. They're not always as accurate and stuff as you see.
Here's the other
Sue
thing.
asked about the contract. Irregardless of who the contract is with, since that's what you're using to look at, we'd like a copy of that so that we are comparing apples to apples and not apples to oranges.
We'll contact the other municipality if they have no problem with it, you can, it's a, given that you all said what you have to say, it doesn't take away from the fact that currently, right now, we still have a void during the daytime. How are we going to address the void that we have during the daytime?
Unfortunately, it takes time, unfortunately.
Okay, but someone on the floor, or someone breathing, or when 3 calls go out, unfortunately,
And
they don't have that, they don't have that.
I am here to reiterate what I said before, that is what our mutual aid contracts are for, our mutual aid agreements with the surrounding agencies. If we cannot get out, the 911 center has instruction to dispatch our mutual aid if for some reason we are having trouble. And they also have the discretion during a serious call to automatically send the next due.
Right.
So,
And that doesn't matter whether we get out or not, they have that discretion, it's right in the policies and procedures. So I'm going to suggest that maybe you get familiar with the policies and procedures, how it's set up.
Let me ask you a question. When a call goes out for mutual aid, let's say in the last 30 days, have we ever been covered by a paid service through mutual aid?
Yes, anytime Molten is dispatched, it's paid service, and now at this point, anytime PACCON comes in, that's also a paid service.
Okay, so our mutual aid now is being covered from the Knowlton side and the Low Pacon side with a paid service.
Paid, right. The only ones that surround us that are not a billing agency is Oxford.
I'm really struggling with the fact that if we have a void, that there's not a willingness to sit down and say, let's explore this.
I don't
I'm
think
saying
anybody
there's
said that at all.
No, I wouldn't say that at all.
I've been in this a long time. I mean, I've worked with Eric and I worked with Sue. My God, we're going back almost
Well, let's not even
2
look
years.
at that number.
2 years. But, and I mean, I have the utmost respect for what you guys do. I've been there with you. But at the same time, I read these things and they say, we're going to have a car rolling in 2 minutes, guaranteed.
Well, here's the thing,
Let
they have
me finish. I mean, it's not like we're just coming on this blind. I mean, we did do our due diligence, and I did look at the 911, and I did do the Oprah request, and I did, there's an issue. And-
Well, here's what some of those numbers don't tell you. Yes, that truck out of Knowlton went responded in 2 minutes. Where were they coming from? The tail end of the Atlantic contract?
Mhm.
Their evening truck was coming out of Netcom. 45 minutes till the ambulance got on scene, and that was their primary truck.
And there's something that we need to add on to that. Once that truck reported to the comm center that it is responding, they cease dispatching anybody else that might be closer.
What is the apprehension? What is the reluctance?
We're not saying we're not willing. You're the one saying that, Charlie. We're
No,
not.
I want to
We
make
want to
this
make
work.
sure that you are well informed and you're not looking straight at numbers, because numbers don't tell everything. You
Guys, I've worked with you guys, I know
being
what's
retired state police know the numbers don't mean anything.
Trust me, I know what it's all about.
You know that.
Can I ask you a question, guys?
Yes.
I think it was brought up here, if not, it was brought up in another one of the townships I represented, and I think it was more in a fire company context, but the question was whether we can set up an ordinance that will allow you guys to get reimbursed for at least materials and supplies and things that you're using fire company. But
As a squad, you cannot do that because since we are a volunteer organization, the way the law is written, it describes a volunteer as an agency that does not bill for services.
Well, this is
So if we send a bill for any materials we used in it, we have billed for services and we are no longer considered a volunteer squad. We would be required to be licensed by the state and all kinds of other things.
Well, I want to, okay, I thought that's what you were going to say, but I think that might bear taking a second look at. And the reason I say that, it just happened to come across an ordinance in Clinton Township where they have all of they have an ordinance, and again, I love it.
Clinton is also a billing agency.
Clinton is?
Yes, it is. They're licensed by the state and they bill.
Okay, because can see their ordinance does have that set up, but I was wondering if,
And
when I
most
was,
likely what it is that the Township of Clinton keeps their donation intact and gives it to Clinton First Aid and Rescue Squad to cover the balance of anyone that could not pay the bill. There are other towns that have done that as well. Once agencies are brought in, started billing for their services and to put paid staff on. Because here's the thing, you cannot put paid
Okay.
staff on
So that's not
and
gonna
keep
work.
payroll without billing.
okay.
Our operating budget is $100,000 a year right now in the ambulance corps. Add paid staff to that, and also add additional workers, comp and everything to that, you're looking at tripling the budget.
It's more than that, it
Or more.
actually costs over $250,000.
So you guys don't feel that,
No, it's not 24/7, I take that back. To put paid staff on 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, it would increase.
what I was contemplating in my mind, again, I'd be willing to explore it to see if it worked. What I thought that ordinance was doing, I didn't realize when it was paid, but I was wondering whether we as a town could enter into a mutual aid agreement with you as the volunteers, and then not that you guys would be billing the injured party, if you will, for the services, but submitting the bill to us, and we as the township could pursue that reimbursement.
Then if we submitted a bill to you, it's the same as sending the bill
Think
to the
that's the
person.
same?
We're submitting a bill,
Billing it.
we're billing for service. And if you go after them, I don't know if you could legally go after them, because you're billing for a service you did not provide.
Well, we have a mutual aid agreement essentially with you guys where we committed to reimburse you. That's what I was kind of getting at, whether that would somehow get around that.
I don't know, if we send you a bill that says, I don't know if it could even be a HIPAA violation, because we would have to give you a name and address of a person, and we can't really do that.
I think you'd be okay HIPAA line, the name and address part, I don't think.
Can't identify patients as someone who's not involved.
This is one of those very, very few times that I'm gonna
Hey, Joe.
kind of disagree, because I don't want to get into the nightmare of the municipality in town. We don't need to get into a nightmare of starting a whole new, I mean, this is way, way out. The purpose of this, again, was, I'm gonna go out of my way to get you guys a copy of this by tomorrow. I'm sure I can get the approval tonight when I call. I'm sure it's a public document. I really want you guys to take it and digest it. You can rip it apart. You can add in what might work for you, what might. All I'm asking you to do is consider it, because we have to address the voice. Yes, Mr. Hodges?
I don't think anybody commented on it though. If you go into a contract with St. Luke's, okay, St. Luke's has a contract with Knowlton, all right? I ain't gonna get into it, but Knowlton got into their own predicament when they used to be covered by Portland and Belvedere used to cover that territory.
Portland and Wearsville.
Used to cover that territory. Then the fire department decided they wanted to start a rescue squad. Then Belvedere got booted out, Portland, Blairstown. Now they got in a predicament. But here's the whole thing. St. Luke's is not going to put an ambulance up there and an ambulance here in Belvedere to cover the territory. So in essence, if there's a call from Blair's, Knowlton's territory, Knowlton or Columbia, or even in Belvedere, and that ambulance is on its way to, say, St. Luke's in Bethlehem, you're going to be looking at the same exact thing, basically what you are concerned about now. Because where is that other ambulance going to come from? Are they going to wait for that ambulance to clear St. Luke's, Bethlehem, to come all the way back here to answer a call? It ain't like St. Luke's is going to put an ambulance here in Belvedere and an ambulance up in Knowlton, because it ain't cost effective.
But again, that's the purpose of having mutual aid, because you
Right,
have lots.
well, that's what,
Exactly.
basically,
Exactly.
that's exactly what is
Understand.
going on right now,
Right.
where if the ambulance corps cannot answer, if the ambulance corps misses one call for the next period of the time slot, they're automatically, mutual aid is automatically dispatched, dual alert at the same time.
Okay, that's a great point. When we're unable to cover during the day,
Yes.
does dispatch know that we
Yes.
have nothing available at
Yes.
that time? The call doesn't even come into Belvedere.
Because
The call will then be dual alerted. We will get dispatched again for, say we miss one call. And the next call comes in for the day. We will get dispatched simultaneously with our next due mutual aid company. So they will send both automatically until we get an ambulance out, we're on until 6 PM. And then they take us off, and at 6 PM, you go through another round. If you miss a call after 6 PM, you're on dual alert till 6 AM the following morning, until you answer your own call.
And that goes for all
And that goes
organizations, not
for
just
the
ours,
entire Warren
it's
County.
everybody in town.
Go back to the-
I just wanted some clarification. When you answer a call and a paid organization, we'll just say Hunterdon, shows up at the same time, how does that happen and why?
The 911 center goes by a set of state mandated guide cards.
Okay?
Based on what the patient tells them over the phone, dictates whether the Hunterdon Medical Center paramedics are dispatched. So typically chest pains, difficulty breathing. They automatically get dispatched because they can provide a higher level of care than us. They get on scene, they ride in the back of our ambulance because they are not legally allowed to transport.
But they're legally allowed to bill
Yes,
for riding in the back of your...
yes, because they are providing care and providing
But they don't
medication and
tell you
treatment.
what care that is, because I know, I have those bills.
Yes. They provide medication, EKG monitoring, and
Okay.
during that transport.
I just wanted to have that happen. Thanks.
Any other questions? I really want to thank you guys a lot, Eric, Sue, Jake, Joe. Because it clarified a lot of things that I didn't know about, and I think a lot of other people
And just to touch on
needed
what
to hear.
Brian Reader had said, cost-effective wise, it is not beneficial for St. Luke's to put a second ambulance up. There will only be one ambulance.
I would tend to agree with that.
Because the
One
call
one
volume isn't
ambulance-
there.
One ambulance 4 or 5 miles away.
And at that point in time, that ambulance is up on Route 8. Or over transporting the patient to over to Pocono Medical Center and won't be able to come back, won't be able to make it back here, or vice versa.
Alright, so-
We can have the call at the same time as they end up with, as we have many times.
Devil's advocate, the squad, their station will be in Belvedere, it's at noon time, and they're out doing another call. Who gets the call?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I'm trying to be devil's advocate, the squad is out handling another call wherever, I don't care what time of day. Who gets the call now?
We would get dispatched for a second call, and we would make the determination if we are too far away to send someone else.
It's within Belvedere.
Yeah, but it depends on
We
where
get two
we're
calls
at.
within Belvedere, we have a call at 1 o'clock, the squad goes out, they're transporting, now it's 1:30.
We would get dispatched for a second call. Based on the severity of what that call is, we would make a decision to tell the comm center to automatically send someone else.
Or
Or if we
send
have
Belvedere
another-
squad out.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you talking about the paid service on a call or our
No.
call?
Paid service goes out on a call, now a second call comes in a half hour later.
They would dispatch it as a normal dispatch,
Yeah, as a second call.
and depending on what you know about crew availability or where the other ambulance is.
So where did we lose in that transaction? Nothing.
No, there's no change there. no.
I agree. None. Okay. I have a copy, you're more than welcome to have mine.
Well, actually, I just got a copy for you here. So I'd like you guys to take a look at them. Actually, you gave me yours, right? Charlie, you want to give us, let's give them 2 or 3 copies. Because a few people may want them. So just take a look at it, see
Mine's
if
got a
you,
few notes on it. You'll want
see if you think any of that, Joe, Eric, makes a sense, any sense at all to you guys at all, on a very temporary type situation, until you guys feel that you can be at full force and,
I would love to hear, I've heard a number of comments tonight about Nolan Township, and I understand that they just went full-time, I think in July, early part of July.
July
4th of July,
Right.
St. Luke's came on with them.
Be interesting to see. I thought it was very interesting how the mayor wrote this contract up, and how they agreed to it, so.
Well, Milton came from a very different situation where they literally had EMTs. They had nothing.
Their squad was down to 2 people.
They originally started with their contract with Hackettstown Hospital, 24/7. Hackettstown Hospital saw the call volume there and then scaled their operation back and said, we will no longer provide you 24/7 coverage because it's too much money for us to put out and we're not getting paid enough to do it. So they scaled it back to Monday through Friday, or actually no, 7 days a week for the days, and then moved the truck out of there and started responding from Hackettstown Hospital.
Or wherever they might be.
Or wherever they might be if you're tied up on a non-emergency transport, because they're also doubling it as a transport truck. This also goes back to people not being familiar with the area. I sat at home one day and listened to a cardiac arrest in Milton Township. The ambulance responded from Hackettstown Hospital. The road was off of Route 94 that they were going to. They responded via Route 46 from Hackettstown, adding 20 minutes to their ride for a cardiac arrest patient, when GPS would have told them to take Route 80 from Hackettstown Hospital. Goes back to the people that work for the organization knowing the area.
Joe, all I'm asking is, Eric, you guys take a look at it, all right, take a month actually. Try to come back to us at the workshop in September, if anybody has any problem with that, give them enough time to do all your due diligence and stuff like that, and tell us if the feasibility is there in your opinion. We want to solve this problem.
I'd like to just follow that up with, I mean, we know a lot of you people. I mean, we see this every day and we've known you for 20, 30 years. You know, reach out to us in between. You know, if you feel that there's some education that you need to, I'm open to all ears. I want to know as much as I can about it.
Unfortunately, EMS in New Jersey is very convoluted and
I've read as much as I could about it.
it's a very convoluted and confusing thing, the way New Jersey has EMS set up in the state.
But
And
that's
some of
what
us
they
are confused on some of the changes that they
We
make.
want to hear from the personnel.
Mhm.
We want to hear from you guys.
So,
Mr. Mayor, do you have a date in September for this?
I'll have to get back to you because actually Memorial Day is on September 5th, which is our normal meeting. Labor Day, so we'll be discussing changing that date either to a Tuesday or to the following Monday.
Okay.
So most likely will be the 12th of September.
And just so we know what our deadline is. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much. I greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Ladies. Smile too.
I'm not leaving yet. You're not that lucky.
Okay, we're going to move on to prosecutor request to join GXP Grid mapping software program. Charlie, I'm sure you probably dove into that pretty good. We had a presentation here last meeting by the head prosecutor, Richard Burke, Chief Dennis, and Billy London from the Sheriff's Department. To me, I think it's absolutely something, in my opinion, that we should move forward to for the small cost that there is. But Charlie, you seem to be the one that has the opinion on this, so go ahead.
Great product. The company, Rogers Group, he's a retired lieutenant colonel from the state police, was involved in this. Frank Rogers, he's got some very, very smart, articulate people behind the scenes doing this. It's a great product. You're paying for a third-party vendor service. So I think, you know, the fact that the prosecutor's office wants to go with it, myself, and for the amount of money that they're looking for the municipalities, we'd be crazy not to participate. It's very good service. I know the state police themselves have something similar, but to get behind this and to get behind the prosecutor's office to support an initiative that's going to be countywide, I think it'd be a great service. I mean,
For the folks that weren't here at the last meeting, just give them a real quick overview of what the grid is and how it's utilized both in the school district, the
basically,
fire department, and...
Yeah, they're taking pretty much a 3D imagery of all our infrastructure in the town. So any significant event, you know, and they talked about active shooters at the schools levels, and they would have the different levels of the school and know, you know, the whole matrix of the school layout. Well, that's a real popular thing right now. But we have DSM also that has some very probably sensitive type. I know they have their own power. So somebody like DSM would also be 3D imagery. So if there would be a fire, an explosion, mass casualty, you know, we would know all the specifics to send in, you know, EMS, fire. So, you know, any infrastructure within our county or our town would be pretty much catalog, 3D imagery. They would know when, where, and how to respond even before they got there. So I think they were looking for what, $1,500?
$1,500.
12 to 15.
I mean-
I asked Dennis if they had a firm number, they don't yet, they have to know how many's on board.
I'm sure the
Before they
overall
divvy
cost
up.
of the county is well.
But it won't be in excess of 15.
I'm sure it's well into the hundreds of thousands
The
of
school
dollars.
systems, all the Board of Eds throughout Warren County are really buying into it. They're picking up pretty much the tab on most of it, of the school district, and annually, every update that has to be done. I understand, they're talking with the school system, well, I don't know if they've given you that presentation yet or not, you know, so they'll probably be coming to you. As far as rescue services goes, if you have a dementia person lost by the river or in the woods at BASF, they'll have a grid system of all of that. And as I understand it, it's a call, and within minutes from satellites, they can lay out a grid system to find a lost person, someone with dementia, a lost child. So I don't know how well that will work, but for places like our school and our plants, I think it's pretty good.
Joe,
Yes.
Mike, that's interesting, the question about the $15,000.
$1,500.
Because those things can grow. And he gave very specific answers to my questions, that the school district would be picking up their money, part of it, or
The maintenance fees.
the maintenance fees.
Right.
There's no cost in the municipal budget. There's those things, once you get into them, they creep. It's like computer services that you have for the town.
Right.
Well, we're not gonna have any contract either.
Because
with the
the-
county. You guys have first contribution, so you guys will have discretion on whether to contribute further.
The one thing about this application is once you buy it, which is what the prosecutor's office is going to do, they're paying the upfront costs. All right, he is suggesting that school systems are willing to pay the maintenance fees to continue on throughout. At any given time, if they choose not to participate and we terminate that, we still have the application. We have the latest update. You can still continue to use it. So,
Mr.
at any given time,
We have no obligation. The school
Correct.
district does.
and the school can terminate theirs at any given time too. We
do-
can still
we do
continue to
have
use the
a
application, we don't.
One time.
One-time buy-in, right.
It's like buying Microsoft 2007. You don't want to upgrade, that's fine, you stay with 2007. It's the same thing. You don't have to upgrade. It's a great, I mean, for $1,500, it's a no-brainer.
I agree.
Would anybody like to make a motion to move forward on that?
I'll make a motion that we move forward
I'll second.
with the prosecutor's submission.
We got a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Government Energy Aggregation, GEA. I've been in contact with the mayor of Hope, Mr. Donahue, and some others. I forwarded the GEA to Councilman Tuckett. Utilities is his specialty. I've asked him to take a look at it. Everybody's received a copy of it. Walt, what do you know?
Okay, still waiting to hear back from Fort Mayor, Mr. Shigwayne. It's funny, he was out, and he's going to be coming back, and his next officer in charge, Mr. Reinhardt, he's supposed to get a hold of me, he went on vacation. And specifically, what I'm looking from them, they've been on it since 2015, March 2015. And as you can see in the letter, you got favorable things to say about it. In essence, what you're looking at is a town and its residents going on this supplier, single supplier, Right now, as it stands, everybody has an opportunity to go to any supplier they want to. Okay. Now, having said that, personally speaking, where I have my concerns is that that the rates can fluctuate. Here, they're stating that they will stay constant, but I put a question mark after that, and here's why. I had an opportunity to speak to Ms. Wendy Molnar, who is part of this CUC, Community Utility Consultants from Concord Energy Services, and looking for some statistics, and I asked her, companies started back in 2012. All right, 2012, we're looking at 2016, almost 2017. Give 4 or 5 years. And I asked her, I said, out of the different municipalities within the state, how many have signed up to date? She says 33 out of 565. Now, let's be more specific. Within our own county, Warren County, I asked her, well, who do we have as far as it's already signed up? And she said Hope and Hardwick have already had their first reading on an ordinance to pass this. Hackettstown, Harmony, Knowlton, Peaburg are scheduling meetings. And where I would like to see, for the benefit of not just the town council, but the residents of Belvedere, because they will have the opportunity to opt out, as I saw that Mr. Shibwin from Wharton mentioned that 10% of the residents within Wharton opted out, where some of the other municipalities was as high as 15%. Now, my only concern with that number is how many, they started back in 2015. What's the difference from 2015 to 2016, the numbers? And how many initially did go with this GPA program?
And are still with them. And are still with them. How many?
Exactly. Numbers speak for themselves. So having said that, rather than belabor this, and so I don't forget, ordinances have to be completed by September this year, okay, in order to get the program going. She did mention she is available for a presentation, so offer it to town council. She says the presentation only takes 5-10 minutes, but the questions and the answer session may take a little longer. So I think that's, personally, I would suggest that.
I've read it through, again, pretty detailed also. Roughly with the letters that we've received back from the other municipalities, what is the range that some of the municipalities have seen in savings percentage-wise?
Well, that's
8 to 14%, 8 to 15%.
Well,
It depends
that's what they're stating.
Right.
Right, that's what they're stating.
So do we know,
I
is
think
that
when
actually factual? I mean, is it?
Well, isn't it true that I think you can actually specify when it goes out to bid to whoever, you can tell them what your target point is. So if we say, listen, we want a 10% savings.
Immediate or not.
We want 10%.
Immediate or not.
But I agree with you 100%. This is no brainer to invite them in. They're willing to come and stand before the residents and the council and answer all our questions.
Right, because the residents will have an option to go with it or to opt out. And again, the idea is, if I'm not mistaken, the more towns, let's say within Warren, that they can get to go into this, that rate, in my mind, should drop.
Right.
Should drop, so.
The premise,
Ordinance by September by
By the end of September.
the end of September.
Yes, that's like right around the corner.
see,
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if they would lock us into a date, but the premise of this is they're saying, listen, we're going to supply you utility service, but the thought being, if you go out and buy a box of, they use the one example of the paper clips. You're going to buy a box of paper clips versus you're buying a ton of paper clips, you're going to get a better price. So what they're saying is, listen, if we can supply a whole municipality with electric services, we can negotiate a better price for you. And not to steer your thunderwall, but you're absolutely right. I mean, everybody can opt in and out free of charge. And initially when I read it, I was like, I'm against it. The more I read it, it's like, this is a no-brainer.
And I looked at it based on the municipality, and when you're realizing that we're paying $25,000, $35,000, $45,000 a year, just the municipality, just the town
company's still gonna be the same one who's
Correct.
gonna supply the power, and they're gonna come and fix it. It's there in this energy exchange rating is what they're giving you the credits for. But also, the League of Municipalities magazine you pay for has an ad about the company. I think that you should reach out to the League of Municipalities and see what their history is, rather than necessarily sticking with one who's saying the deadline is September this year. I don't think companies are running ads in the League's magazine, are running ads now, or something that's gonna run out in a couple of months. Let's use the League facilities for the experience of other people throughout the state who could do this kind of thing.
Is council in favor of allowing Councilman Tucker to have them invited in?
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, then I'll be back.
Mention that, please.
Definitely do that. And if I could just make, I didn't mention anything to Ms. Molnar, but 3 concerns that I have coming from the utility business. Currently, the price for a barrel of oil is at best less than half of what it used to be, 100 plus. That has a very big, what do you call it, in the equation, factor in the equation with our oil-fired plants that are in New Jersey. And these are what I'm gonna ask her and see how she, answers it. The second is nuclear power plant. Can I see your son's down in South Jersey? I'm trying to think if it's Oyster Creek or Oyster Creek, the nuclear power plant. That's supposed to be decommissioned 2018, 2019. And the third item, you have Portland coal-fired plant that's been shut down, I don't know how many years now. And I haven't heard anything as far as whether it's going to be converted to natural gas like Martins Creek or some other source. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is that what are they replacing all this with? Oil, if the barrel of oil goes up, the price is going to go up. If you're locked in, that's fine. Again, nuclear, what's going to replace that? Listen, solar is beautiful, but I don't think it's got the punch that a nuclear power plant does. And again, coal-fired, coal-fired is like, that's a dinosaur now. So 3 questions that, I'm going to ask her. I didn't want to say anything to her over the phone here, let me know. And then there's others that maybe you can think of.
Yeah, I was just going to suggest that, as I always do when we send somebody out on a mission like this. Council, if anybody on council has a question they want to shove off to Mr. Tutka, get it to him by email by this Friday, please. And you can address those questions and have an answer.
And do you
when
have
she
a date?
comes in.
Do you have a date when you want?
We'll do it at the September workshop,
Okay, we don't have a date though.
September 12th, more or less.
September 12th?
Right.
Okay, just remember that, September 12th is that, 14th we've got.
Let me address that right now. Council okay with September 12th as our first meeting in September?
That's our first meeting, the 12th?
The 12th.
Okay.
Yeah, because the 5th is Labor Day, and the 6th is planning board.
Oh, okay.
So we need to
The
either-
12th, that would be Monday. Fine. Teresa, I'm confused. Did we set down some form of training on the 12th?
The 14th.
Oh, the 14th.
14th, yeah.
14th.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And while I mention that,
Yes.
do you have a preference, Mayor, as far as whether here or the fire department? I haven't gotten any figures back on how many people that are going to be from, I guess, surrounding towns that may attend.
We'll address it accordingly. Right now, we'll plan on here. As the numbers grow, if we need to move it, we'll advertise it, let everybody
All
know.
right, fair enough.
Just very quickly, I want to touch on this, because as I read through this, and that's a very important, they were talking about the rates dropping, and they said they would either match the rates dropping, but at the very least, you would never go back to your utility company. So if they were to drop so substantially low that they couldn't meet it, you'd go back to your utility company rates. So as a public entity, we would never lose. So that's why I was so in favor of it.
Again,
I would love to hear them come.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
yeah,
great.
I'd love that. Again, I go by the numbers, 33 municipalities out of 5. Now, going 4 or 5 years,
It's relatively new.
I don't. So, but definitely we'll, get her up here to talk and go from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Just one thing that I have on August 7th, which is next Sunday, the Military Order of the Purple Heart will be hosting a small event purchase orders. Do I have a second?
I'll second it. I also have a question.
Questions or comments?
Does anyone know, there's one item on there, sport accident? I don't know, that sounds a little,
Sports accident policy.
that's an insurance policy, okay,
Yeah.
it wasn't an event. It was something,
Yeah.
okay, what happened, somebody got hurt.
Yeah, that's our preview for the year.
Okay.
And am I correct in understanding that the people with the BYAA, the kids pay that
Yes, they do.
registration fee?
They reimburse us each individual program, whether it's BYA or Bellevue or Wildcats, or for the number of participants that they have.
Any other questions or comments on purchase orders? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to our second public comment, please come to the podium, state your name. Mr. Blum.
Robert Blum. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for your public service, first of all. I really appreciate it. We're talking about saving energy. I just saved some energy this year. My average electric bill was $180 a month. My electric bill now is $140 a month. For 20 years, I will pay $140 a month. I have solar panels on my roof. The company is responsible for the maintenance. 20 year comes, I then perhaps renew or not renew. I'm going to suggest that you folks look into that for the town of Ellsworth. Okay, that was that, and I understand that there's an ordinance about cleaning up the town, for lack of a better term, which I commend you for. There's been eyesores around town for years and years and years, so your action is overdue. Again, congratulations, I appreciate it. Please do not be draconian in your enforcement actions. Okay. The other thing I'd like, personal request, but it's not only for me, it's for the others. I'd like to see at least 2 no dumping signs put up, okay? One, as you come past the Scout home, heading out Ray Street, there's a bend in the corner. Down in by the river, people park and they dump there. And then today, if you go a little bit further, you go past my house, there's a wooded section. It's kind of dark. It's a straight section. And here's this less than responsible person. He is parked in the opposite lane, and he's throwing garbage off the side of the bank. So I would like a no dumping sign there too, please. Thank you.
Mr. Blum, you know I gotta ask this question.
Go right ahead.
Gotta ask this question.
Yes,
You've seen it for yourself personally.
I did.
You identified the vehicle personally. You know who the vehicle is, in other words. You know who the individual is.
No,
You do not know.
I wanted to get his license plate
Okay.
bad, but he
Okay.
took off by the time I could. Don't worry,
Vehicle
Mr.
description?
Kennedy, if I could have got that tag.
I'm sure you would have.
I afford it. That's
Sure you would have.
irresponsible, unacceptable.
You got it, absolutely. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Ritter?
I would like to ask my question and get out of here.
Yes, sir.
First, is there a reason why you skipped over the fire truck? You have firemen.
Yes, I'm gonna get to that very
Okay,
shortly.
all right.
Yes.
So you are on
Yes.
public comment?
What's that?
We are on public comment?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay. You'll get your turn. Benjamin Ritter, 319 Second Street. How are the fireworks being paid for?
By donations and.
100%?
100%.
Is there police and/or DPW overtime involved?
No,
you very much. Have a good evening.
You too.
Take it easy, we'll change that.
Yes, Mrs. Meyer. Mary Ann Meyer, proceed.
Mary Ann Meyer Garcia, 305 Second Street, beautiful town of Belvedere. I just would like to say that, as most of you know, I was involved in the healthcare industry for over 4 years, locally, which the Belvedere Ambulance Corps covered. And many times, or not many times, but we did at times have outside agencies come, because we call them so that we don't have to call the emergency squad. We call a paid service, and we would sit there sucking wind, waiting for them to come. I mean, and it wasn't that it wasn't an emergency. It's just that there were certain things we were allowed to call for and certain things we weren't. Whenever we called the Belvedere Emergency Squad, either Belvedere came or Oxford came. And I have to say that they did, and I'm sure you all know this, an incredible job. Always, always. And they did come in a timely manner. But like I said, there were many times in that healthcare facility where you would not call the EMS, the emergency squad, you would call paid service because of what was going on. If somebody hit their head, we called EMS. But for other things, we wouldn't. And it would take forever. And I'm talking about Hackettstown, and also, I'm not there anymore right now, but I've seen St. Luke's over there a lot recently. So, you know, I don't think that you're going to have a faster response. That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
That's it.
Mr. Blum.
One other brief comment, if I may. The public comment policy is a bit restrictive in the sense that anyone who wants to ask a brief question, such as Mr. Ritter did, has to sit through the whole meeting. And I just would ask you to please reconsider that policy.
I'm sure if anybody would raise their hand, I would recognize it. Thank you. Any other public comments? Mr. Head. Jake.
Brian Reeder, 400 Spring Street. The reason that wasn't really to be here with the squad, but it just worked out that way. But I got a concern as a resident, as a lifelong resident in this town. I want to know where the town stands. The town's got a big drug problem, a big heroin problem. I've been to the police. I know Mary Ann's brother-in-law went to the prosecutor's office 3 times over a resident that's dealing. All right? The other day, I called him dealing in the alley. I went to the officer. Unfortunately, I gave him the name of the person. They went to the wrong place. They went to the guy's house. Well, he wasn't there. And it seems like our police officers can go to the prosecutor's office, and they do not want to have anything to do with the town of Belvedere. I personally feel that they don't want to have anything to do with us is because we do not provide an officer to the Drug Task Force Agency like we've always done in the past. Dan Wagner, when he was an officer, was involved for a long time. Ronnie Mulligan was involved till he left. All right? And I don't think we've had an officer involved in helping out. And I don't know if he's realized it, but we used to get cop cars, new bulletproof vests, guns for the police officers. Granted, it cost us some overtime for the officer to be involved. But I think it's about time that the town of Belvedere gets back involved with the county's Drug Task Force Agency so that we also get them perks. And granted, it's going to be a little bit of more of my tax dollars. I already pay a hell of a lot to live in this town. But I'm sick and tired of the freaking drug problem that goes on in this town with this heroin and nothing being done. I've been to the chief, I've been to other officers, and you know what? Their hands are tied. Because they go to the prosecutor's office and they do not want to get involved with Belvedere. And the only reason that I can see that they do not want to get involved in Belvedere is because Belvedere does not play.
Charlie, you want to take a look into that?
Yes, I do.
Would you please take a look into it?
But I
I
would
can't
really like
disagree
to-
with you more, and I'll tell you why. There is no law enforcement officer out there, whether it be Belvedere, the prosecutor's office, sheriff's department, or DEA, that doesn't want to lock these people up. The amount of time and effort it takes to build a case, I don't care if it's one dealer or just the quick, street gang, and I'm going to sell it over the counter, to build that case. Our prosecutor's office is there to supplement and augment the police departments. Regardless of whether or not you supply an officer or not to what used to be the Tri-Man or the Warren County Narcotics Task Force, they will do the best job that they can do. They have such limited resources. Let's look at the county. Let's look at Phillipsburg. Let's look at Warren or Washington. Let's look at Hackettstown. Okay, now let's throw Belvedere into the equation. Where do you think we fall in those four perspectives? We're at the bottom of the list. They only have such limited resources that they go after. And granted, they're going to go after the biggest targets they can go after. If we supplied an officer, okay, so now we're going to hire a 7th officer, usually it's a 6-month stint or more that you're going to supply to the task force. I don't think it's going to buy you anything more than what you have now. Unfortunately, unless we bolster the police department, there's not much they can do. They're doing the best that they can. But I know how many, being there personally and actually doing it, I know how many hours and how many staffing hours it takes to just bring one case to conclusion, or even to make their arrest, and not get charged with false arrest or your harassment, and all the things that go on today. But I would think that, I don't think it's fair to say that our prosecutor's office doesn't care, because I think they actually give Belvedere a little bit more leeway because they are housed here. And from behind the scenes, I'm telling you, I think that the prosecutor's office actually helps us out a little bit more than I think they do, because they care too. They're here. They're sitting in Belvedere. They're sitting too.
But why would somebody go to the prosecutor's office 3 times? And like I said, I was the Matt Scott, I talked to Matt Ron, they all know, well, you know what? Maybe the thing to do is, instead of the cop car riding around the same street 20, 30 times in one night, start sitting by these people's houses. You know what? Watch them. Eventually they're going to get tired of it, and they're going to say, oh, the cops are watching me.
Right. So
Let's get the hell out of here.
let's go to the 49 other places that you just missed. No,
Let
we need
them
visibility. Everything that they do, without getting into all the police practices and procedures, everything that they do is for a reason. It may not be the best that in your eyes that you see, because you see, drug trafficking. And I see it too. I mean, I'm on 2nd Street. I go right down the square. I can say, I know what's going on.
Don't take a rocket scientist.
Right, but I also know what it takes to bring these, to bring a good arrest, to bring it to conclusion. The last thing you need is to lock somebody up. They turn around and they could be whatever, the most degenerate of all, and they bring a lawsuit against you and win. And it's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Why would I do this?
Well, since
But
you
your
brought
point is
it up,
well taken. So-
okay, since you brought it up about a lawsuit, I was hoping that with the change of the guards and that, and having a younger police force, that the town of Belvedere right now would have cameras and voice monitors installed in the vehicles by now. And I don't think that's ever happened yet.
Why would we need that?
You put a camera in the cop car for a traffic stop, it's gonna save you a hell of a lot of money in the long run. If you have to go to court, you got a voice monitor, and you got that camera for what that person's saying. The only thing a camera The only thing that the camera not being there only protects a bad cop.
I won't argue with you that the cameras have been a very big asset in the law enforcement community in the cars. They really have been. And I think most officers will agree with that. It's just a matter about expenses right now. You know, we're fortunate enough to not have to face those lawsuits right now, but you're right, it would be very nice to have them. And I would suspect that if you would talk to our officers and the chief, they would love to have them too. I think we had, what, a 600,000 plus budget this year? You know, it's the second year in a row we tried to decrease the budget, because when you talk to people, Belvidere's taxes are high. And you know, we're fortunate enough that we do have a police department. They do the best that they can do. If we disbanded them and we got rid of that $600,000 line item, you wouldn't have some of the niceties I think that we have today. I think it would only be progressively worse. So it's a balance.
Yeah, like I said,
we'd love to have cameras.
Like I said,
think
I have nothing but respect for them.
Yeah.
Even the young kids that came on, they're very nice gentlemen, young men. But, you know, I just, you know, Matt, before he got chief, always stated that, oh, I can get a grant for cameras, I can get a grant for a canine dog. And I thought, wow, good, things are gonna change for the town of Belvidere. And
it's funny you bring the dog up, but I was just going to say, we don't want to go there right now.
Let's not go there.
And you know what I mean? And it's like, nothing's ever changed.
Well, no, I think it has changed. I think it's changed a lot. You know, I think the attitude of our officers right now is very positive. I think they're doing an outstanding job. When they're out there by themselves, you know, they have no backup. And they're trying to not only follow up on the investigation, but follow up on this call and do traffic and you know, do the parking and all the things that they're asked to do. And it's just one person, you know, for 8 to 10 hours. You know, but I will go back to your camera. I mean, we'd love to have cameras. I think the general would love to have cameras too.
How much would they cost?
They're substantial.
$1,000, $20,000?
We're talking about the car cameras or the body cameras?
Well, right now we're talking about.
Body cameras, I think in the state of New Jersey, with the walls and that, are like almost impossible to even get, because the liability that you put in at each officer before they can even counteract with a person, they got to inform them that you're being filmed and everything else. New Jersey has the toughest walls.
One of the nicest things that came out from the law enforcement community was the tasers. Okay? You know, people say, why did you shoot him? Because you couldn't stop him. So now you have a taser. But in New Jersey, you can't have a taser unless you have a camera on the taser. So it's like, you can't even afford the tasers because they have to have a camera on them. So, you know, it's a tough situation. But I will tell you this, I really applaud our gentlemen. I think they're just doing a fantastic job. Their hands are tied. They see what you see.
Yeah, I know they do.
But they know what they can do. They know they can't walk up and just say, yeah, I just saw you. You know, they have to build the case.
But I also know, by talking to some of them,
They're frustrated.
they're frustrated because what I'm telling you tonight is basically what I hear.
Absolutely.
That well, it ain't us, we can go to the prosecutor's office, and they just seem like they don't want to bother with
And if you
us.
go to the prosecutor's office, they're going to say the same thing. You know what? We only have X amount of individuals, and they're tapped out. They don't.
In Belvidere, compared to Peterborough that has 15,000 people, they look at Belvidere, oh, you don't even have 3,000.
You're going to go where you're going to reap the biggest rewards. And unfortunately, it's Hackettstown, it's Phillipsburg, it's Washington. You know, that's where they're getting the, you know, we've had DEA in town. I mean, we've had some really significant stuff happen here, probably in the last 6 months. Is it in the press? No. Is that, maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe we should publicize it more. But they have been proactive. They've been doing a great job. And so.
All right.
I appreciate your concern. And
Like I said, you know what, if I was just looking at it as a point that, you know, if the county don't want to be involved because we don't want to be involved in their drug task force, you know what I mean? Like I said, and I know in the years past when they used to be involved, They used to get, like I said, I remember one time they got a free cop car.
They
all
don't
got-
have that kind of money anymore.
Yeah.
So those perks
Because they
aren't
don't
there.
make the bus.
Those perks aren't there anymore.
You're right, you're
because
talking
the
about-
prosecutor's office are funding.
The forfeiture funds have virtually dried up. I mean, the forfeiture funds were any town that participated,
Used to
and,
get some.
you know, even with the state police, I mean, the forfeiture funds, they're nil, because nobody wants to touch it anymore, it's so litigious. But maybe we can do a better job of at least having the chief put out a little bit of news releases. I want, you know, the public should really know what's going on, because we do have some good arrests.
Charlie, that's exactly what I was gonna suggest, is maybe have them start selectively releasing some things.
Yes.
I can tell you, over the last 3 to 4 months, I've personally been apprised of how many times DEA has been in town here, and you would be shocked to know how often they are in town here. And you can see a significant difference in a few streets in Belvedere, and I won't mention them specifically. I understand that you're concerned with 4th Street and that back alley, I really am. But I can tell you, they are here. I can tell you, they are here.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do want to apologize to former Chief Wilson here. I did get a call from Chief Cole earlier today asking me to table the fire truck and take it off the agenda.
Yeah, we just wanted,
Because he didn't feel the members, you guys were pretty tied up.
yeah, we were hoping to meet as our group before the meeting. I think we got our dates mixed up of which meeting you were
Yeah,
at.
if you'd have come in 5 minutes earlier, I wouldn't have taken it off the agenda.
We just wanted to stop over anyway, make sure you didn't have anything immediate for us to take back and revoke before we
Nothing
come
at
back.
all. We're going to put it on the September workshop for you. That's what his request
That's
was.
the tentatively the 12th.
Tentatively 12th, September.
We are the 12th.
Okay, we are the 12th. Yeah, September 12th.
We'll see that.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry you had to wait around.
That's right.
We're so interested.
Any other public comment? Yes, sir. Mr. McAvoy.
Carl Mackler, 519 Oxford Street. I think maybe one thing that council should maybe consider with the EMS system is to provide maybe a higher step rate for employees to maybe offer up to volunteer to get their EMT certification and maintain it. PPAC Gladstone, Public Works offers up employees to drive for them during the day and provide patient care. We had an ambulance at my employer, but it died in America at the funding. But it was a great system. It alleviated the 5 rescue squads during the day until, unfortunately, now they're handled by Somerset Medical Center. But my point is, that right now, is maybe consider giving that employee an extra step and offering her service to the squad. Something to consider in the future to help these guys out during the daytime.
Yeah, I think we're
drivers from
currently, the
DPW.
DPW currently is,
Correct, John?
they are allowed to leave during the daytime and work as a driver for DPW. Have you used
John has.
DPW, Joe?
There have been instances when we had the EMT that is on, they're waiting for a driver and they're having a couple times, yes.
Okay.
I'm saying you can go a step further and offer up a higher rate for holding that EMT certification. And not even limited to DPW, maybe somebody in the, one of the offices down the hall here might want to be interested in it.
That's a very good point.
That's all.
Thank you, Carl.
Teresa, you can become an EMT.
Mine expired years ago.
Well, I will tell you, Councilman Tutka did fill out an application, correct? Mr. Tutka, volunteered to join. And are you going through training yet?
Yeah, we went to CPR training and they did have a call on us coming back for the first aid part of it in the afternoon. They had to get something out by, was it King Coles, I think, that motor vehicle. So,
In fact, the next one's gonna be the 16th.
excuse me?
The 16th is next set of classes.
This one,
First, yes, CPR first aid.
and what time?
I don't remember off the top of my head. It's gonna be same last time as last time. I don't remember if it's first aid first or
It was
CPR.
10 and then 1:30.
Yeah.
So 1:30?
I'll reach back to you on the specific, but I don't remember if I set myself up to do first aid first at 10 o'clock or not.
Oh, let me know, yeah. Oh, thank you, thank you.
We have our neighborhood watch coordinator here, Ms. Stetler. You're all good to go tomorrow?
We're excited.
Excited?
It's gonna
I
be
heard it's gonna be quite an event.
Yep, just like the rest.
Good.
And we're excited, especially with things that are going on in the country. We need to support local law enforcement, because of what has been going on in the country. And plus, it's a great event not only for the police department, but we've really enlarged for the EMS, the emergency squad, fire company, and just bringing the whole community together. And we'll have almost everybody represented there, and some outside agencies too. So
Great.
we're looking for nice weather,
Good.
not only for National Night Out, but for the fireworks too, and that'll be a nice addition
Great.
this year.
And I'd like to, again, thank Carl McAleer, spent some time with myself and John and DPW, came out and laid the map out for the firework display and the location to make sure that we were, actually, I didn't know you were chief fire marshal, so I apologize.
Since January.
I laid it all out so we are properly following the state statute rules and guidelines for fireworks. Mr. McAleer came out and laid out the location and the proper distances and everything, so fences will be going up tomorrow. So I think we're in pretty good shape. I called Sean from Trenton, the state of New Jersey. He's coming out tomorrow. He'll take a look at it also. You'll try to, I know you've got National Night Out as well.
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
Well, Chief Scott is on board. Mr. Snyder's on board.
Yes.
We're gonna have beautiful weather tomorrow after 3 o'clock.
And I don't know, we hired a rain dancer
Oh, did you?
for
A
July
Sunday.
9th,
Okay.
because we wanted to,
I see.
Yeah.
I kind of figured that, yeah.
and it worked.
It worked, it worked.
But we're looking forward to the joint venture.
Great, it's gonna be.
Well, Al Roker had that forecast down where he
Yeah.
submitted, so it was going to be.
I'll tell you, when it came to be 8 o'clock on the 9th, and that downpour came down, I was like jumping for joy, I was like, please rain, do something. The only thing that could have been better was lightning or something, So, but it was a good call, it worked out well, so it's gonna be a nice joint effort, it really is. So
And there was a nice newspaper article too.
Yes, I appreciate the newspaper article,
Yep.
it was great. Thank you very much for working with us.
Yeah,
It
not a
was
problem.
great. Ms. Sharon Cooper,
Yes.
our insurance lady, anything for us? Any concerns, issues?
Discounts?
Discounts, okay. Yeah, we need some- everything's good?
Just went over the renewal with Teresa last week, so.
Okay. All right.
Linda sent me all the stuff about National Night Out.
Good.
We have certificates and everything for the fireworks, so we're good.
No bounce houses, hot air balloons, nothing like that, correct?
Thank God.
We're good. Okay, with that, we will